Mishpatim, a crucial parsha. I mean, every parsha is obviously crucial, but in a sense, there's something unique here because the background of all this teachings this week gives us a background on civil criminal law and gives us more than 10% of all the mitzvahs of the Torah, or almost 10%. 10% in one parsha, that's a lot. That's today's class, though, is very short. We've had very long classes. Okay, let's get to it. Chapter 23, verse 20. Hine, behold, anechi shelech malach lefanecha. So it's interesting, we did so many mitzvahs till now. Now we're speaking more of the narrative, if you will. Okay, I'm sending a malach, means an angel lefanecha before you, lishmorcha, to protect you, baderech, on the journey, lahaviyacha, to bring you elamakom asher to the place that I have designated for you. So I'm sending you an angel. Okay. What's this? Let's see Rashi 20. Rashi says, behold, I send an angel. Kan is bastru shasim malachte. So this is kind of informing us that we're going to be destined to sin with the golden calf. And the Shekhinah, the divine presence, is saying to them, Ki lo ela bekirbecha. I will not ascend in your midst. Okay. You see that which I have prepared. Asher zamanti laseis lachem, that I prepared to give to you. That's a simple meaning. In other words, the land of Israel that I've prepared to give to you. That's a simple meaning. Or midrashay, but the metaphoric, midrashic understanding, or I don't know metaphoric, but homiletic. Elamakam asher achenesi kvar k'minkaimim nikar v'kenegdoi. To the place I've already prepared, my place, recognizable opposite it. This is one of the verses that says the heavenly temple is directly aligned with the earthly temple. In other words, the fact that the verse, it means prepared. What's prepared? The heavenly temple is prepared already above, because it's saying that I have prepared. So the simple meaning means the land of Israel I prepared. But the homiletic meaning is the Beis Hamikdash above that I have prepared, meaning above that it should be aligned with the Beis Hamikdash, the holy temple down here. Now, why Rashi has to bring that and not enough the simple meaning? Good question. Huh? Asking? For sure it asks that. Huh? Well, he would, no, the 5-year-old's going to ask, why does Rashi have to say that? What is bringing Rashi not to accept the first explanation, that it simply means that I prepared for you the land of Israel? That it means that I've prepared in a heavenly holy temple that is aligned with the earthly holy temple. Which, by the way, in Kabbalah and Chassidus, you know what that means? Malchus of Atzilus. That's the source of the Shekhinah. She uses, you see how infused in the words of Rashi is mystical teachings, by using it in the language of Chazal, of the sages of the Talmud, as opposed to the Kabbalists. Okay. Hishomer, be careful. Mipanav, from his presence. Ushma, this is the angel, which the angel is called what? Shekhinah, calling it the Shekhinah, right? The divine presence. Ushma, and hear and heed, b'kailait, to his voice. Al tamer boy, and don't rebel. Tamer means to rebel. Because lo yisa lepisheichem, because he will not uh, uh, um, overlook your sins. Ki shmi bikir boy, because my name is within them. In other words, whatever he's doing in my name. Let's see Rashi. Al-Tamer, boy, don't rebel against him. Loshen Hamara, it's a language of rebellion. Kamoi Yimra is Picha. So what we find in whatever will rebel against your orders. Okay. Next Rashi, because he will not forgive your rebellious sins. He's not accustomed to such forgiving. Because he is shehukas in a cat, in a group, because he's in a group, because he is of a group that does not sin. Meaning angels, right? Angels hang out with other angels, and they don't sin. They're in such a group that don't sin. And further, Shu Shaliach, because he's an emissary. The angel's an emissary. So he's only doing what he needs to fulfill his mission. Right. Interesting. Next Rashi, Kishmi Bikirboy, because my name is within him. This is connected to the beginning of the verse. That you should beware of him. Why should you beware of him, my angel? Because my name is associated with him. Right? My name is associated with the angels, so therefore you have to beware and be careful. So our sages say that this is the angel called Metatron. Shishmoi b'shem Rabbi, that his name is like that, the name of his master. Shemetatron b'gematria shin dalid and a yud. That the numerical value of Metatron 314 equals that of shin dalid yud, the name of God. Interesting. Okay. Got it? All right, 22. Key. By the way, next week we're going to have the Chitas book, which is almost 3,000 pages. Okay, Henry is sponsoring it. I'm going to have 5 of them here, so you can have with the English and Hebrew in the book that you'll be able to follow very easily. 22.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah. Ki im shamayatishma, but what you need to do is listen, b'kailai, to his voice, meaning of the Shekhinah, of the angel, v'asisa kol asher edaber, and do everything that I will speak. V'ayafti esayvecha, v'ayafti, and I will be an enemy, esayvecha, of your enemies. V'tzarti, and I will be a pain, or a prosecutor, he translates over here. Persecute, rather. Persecute, pain, persecute, better. Your persecutors. Wow, look at that. See? But he's saying here, learn Chumash and Rashi, then learn Tanya, and then do your Tillim, and do Rambam. And then, because you're going to listen to the angel, the Shekhinah, and then your enemy, right? I will be an enemy to your enemies, and I will prosecute your prosecutors. So this is how we're on the front line, fighting the battle against those are the evil ones that are fighting against the Jewish people. Tzarti kitarguma me'aik, and I will prosecute. Onkelos' translation.
Persecute. Persecute.
I did it interchangeably, but you're right, persecute. Yeah, persecute. Because my angel will go before you, and he will bring you the angel El Hamairi to the Amorites, Chiti and to the Chiti, the Hittites, Maprizi and to the Prizites, Akanani and to the Canaanites, Achivi and to the Chivis, Yevusi Bechadativ, and I will annihilate them. Right, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nations. And there was one that picked up and left. What was the name of that nation? We had it earlier. Okay. Don't prostrate to their gods. And don't serve them. And don't do like according to their actions, meaning their practices. Rather, hares taharase, but you should shatter, obliterate. Tishaber and break. You shall break matzevoisam their pillars, meaning their idols. Rashi in 24, last Rashi, hares taharase, that you should demolish them. La'oisam elahus, for those gods. Matzevoisam, and their stones, their matzeva, their no. Avanim shehem matzivim lishtach. These are the stones that they stand erect in order to bow down to them. That's what. Let's see if there's any sichas from the Rebbe here. Sure there is. Question is. We did, yeah. Just did it. So we'll see sicha here on what we just learned. No, there is. 1 second. No. Oh, no, 1 second. Oh, I didn't do the last verse. I'm sorry. I did the last Rashi. There's no Rashi in the next one. That's why. Vadatem, and you will serve as Hashem Elokeichem, Hashem your God, and He will bless your bread, and your water, and He will remove illness from your midst. So there is not on. There's no Rashi here, but there is a sikha from the Rebbe. That wow, it's a mitzvah essay. It's from Rambam. So Rambam says it's a positive commandment every day to pray. How do you know? Where do you know that's a positive commandment every day to pray? This verse. Vadatem, and you should serve Hashem Elokeichem, Hashem your God. From this we understood, Rambam says, that Avodah, this is prayer, because elsewhere it says, Lavdei v'chol levavchem. That's in the second paragraph of the Shema, right? There it says that you should serve Him with all your heart. So service means the heart. That's Rambam is saying, right? And our verse says to serve Hashem your God, right? And so from here, the sages say, what is the service of the heart? This is prayer. Well, okay, this is actually, okay. Commentators ask, the Kesef Mishnah and others on the Rambam. Listen carefully. Faisal, you with me?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Where's the Rambam learn that you need to pray? How do you know you need to pray every day? Where's Rambam learn? From verse 25, what we just learned, right? Verse 25, right?
That
So-
service of Hashem is prayer.
Right. How do we know? Rambam, it's a two-step process over here. Our verse is saying serve God. How do we know what that means to serve God? What does that mean? Is it a general term? Is it a specific term, right? So because in the second paragraph of the Shema, it says to serve him with all your heart. So that means the service means something of the heart. What's heart? It means prayer, right? Tefillin is not prayer. Tefillin is putting on your tefillin, right? Shema is accepting the yoke of God as your king. The first paragraph, second paragraph is that the mitzvahs that you accept, right? But where is that the concept of prayer come? So the two things come together, and it's from this verse. But the commentators ask, why is the Rambam taking from this verse? Avadatem es Hashem Elokeichem, right?
And not from the Shema.
Lavdei b'chol levavchem, and not from the verse that you should serve him with b'chol levavchem. In other words, no, sorry. Well, let me tell. I'm just reading it for the first time. So, the verse he's bringing here is not proof in and of itself, right? How come?
You need the other verse.
Because you don't know that it means heart. You just know you have to serve. You don't know what what the parameter of it is. So you need the other verse, right? So why do you have to do that to come on to another verse to prove that this means, right? You could have very much just taken the other verse, Lavda b'chol levavchem, that you have to serve him with all your heart. Because there it's also saying serve. Huh?
Also says,
Lavdei, not lavadatem, but lavdei b'chol levavchem. Serve with all your heart. Okay, that's clear. What does it mean? It means prayer, right? Good question, huh? What's the answer? So the Rebbe says,
on the Rambam.
yeah, this is the Kesef Mishnah's question on the Rambam, right? And many other commentators have on the Rambam, right? Kesef Mishnah is the main commentator on the Rambam. So the what is the parameter of prayer? Is that you have to ask your requests of God from a person has to make their personal needs of God, right?
Sorry?
The parameter of prayer is that your personal requests, your needs, you need to make them of God, right? That's the parameter of prayer, right?
You reach out to God to fulfill your personal needs.
Exactly. That the fact that you need to serve God with your heart just means that that's the situation. That's what prayer is defined by. It's not its parameter. What is prayer defined by? Your heart. In other words, that you are touching your heart. That's the definition of prayer. That's not the parameter of prayer. Right? That's the basic essential definition of prayer, right? That we're trying to touch our heart. Right? That we have to arouse our heart. But that's not the parameter of prayer. Therefore, the Rambam has to take from our verse over here, because our verse over here is giving the parameter of prayer, that you need to ask for your needs. And that's why it says that God will bless you with bread and water and take away from you disease. Because those are the things that you need to ask of God when you have a request, when you have a need of those things. Therefore, the Rambam has to come onto this verse over here in order to give us the parameter of prayer. But what is the definition of prayer? Is something of the heart. That's why you need both things. Because in our verse, the second in the Shema, second paragraph, "La'avdei b'chol levavchem," that you should serve him with all your heart, is only giving me the definition of prayer, but it's not giving me the parameter of prayer. Our verse is giving us the parameter. I gotta say that this is something that I previously in learning Rambam bothered me, and I never understood. And thank God that Rebbe clarified.
So prayer is avoidance on that. But the purpose of prayer is to request for your needs.
Yeah.
And that's why this is more appropriate as a quotation for prayer.
That's what you need.
The purpose of prayer.
That's why you need the both verses.
Prayer is the service of the heart.
Not the action, the definition of it, of prayer. It's not just it.
No,
You're right. It's
you're called here.
Huh?
You use the word definition for this part. The other part.
No, I said no. The parameter of it. What's the boundaries of it? Well, so what does it mean? What does it mean that you're praying with your heart? What does it mean? What's in what context? What's the context of it? The context is your needs you request. That's the context of it. Parameter, context, whatever term you want to use, right? But that's not the bottom definition of it, right? Is of the heart. Prayer means the service that's within the heart, developing the heart, the connection of the heart. In other words, as opposed to learning, is what? Learning is that the wisdom of God becomes your wisdom, right? It's not about the heart. It's about God's wisdom becomes your wisdom.
Correct.
I'm curious to see what the Lechem Mishnah, what he explains, right? Because this is the Rebbe's explanation. The question is asked by the Meforshim. I'm curious what their explanation is on that. We have to look it up. Obviously, they're learning it differently. I'm sure he does. But I'm saying, but he's not answering the Rebbe's answer, because this is the Rebbe's answer. No, we would have to, huh?
He didn't bring what the answer was.
No, here it doesn't. I mean, probably in the Sikha, it probably does bring it. I have to look it up. That's all. A lot of learning to do here. A lot to do. Okay, want to do another one? Yesterday we did something important. It's all important, right? It's all important. The end of yesterday's reading, Lo Savasha Gedi B'Chaleva Imoy. Who remembers what the translation of that is? Don't cook. The kid, right, in the mother's milk, right? Right. Now, if you remember from Rashi yesterday, so Rashi said, huh? Well, 3 times it said, right? And 3 times it said, 1 to tell you that there's a prohibition in eating, 1 because of a prohibition of having even pleasure from it. In other words, you can't have benefit from it, right? You can't give a mixture of milk and meat even to your dog to eat. You can't do that because you're having benefit from it, right? And the third thing is the actual cooking, right? You're not going to eat, you're not going to have benefit from it, but the actual cooking, right? You can't do either, right? So the Rebbe asks, why would Rashi here, right? Now, we said there's 3 times. What's the here is the first time. If it's the first time over here, why would he then bring out, the fact that in 3 different places, it says the same verse that you should not cook the mother in the kids in the kids' milk, right? Why would he explain that over here when it's only the first time? We wouldn't have the question over here. When would you have the question? The second time, the third time for sure, right? But not over here. So why would you explain it over here? Right? And it sounds from Rashi, the way he explains, he says the first time is to tell you the prohibition of eating. So it sounds like this time is for the prohibition of eating. The second time is for the prohibition of having any benefit. And the third time is for cooking, right? So, but that doesn't sound to make sense. Because what are the words in the verse say? Lo savashel, don't cook. So it should be the first time is don't cook. Because that's what literally the verse is saying. It doesn't say don't eat. The second time, oh, why are you saying don't cook? We already know say don't cook. So obviously it doesn't mean cook, it means something else. Either eating or eating what you cooked or benefit from it, right? But the first time should at least be taken literally. But it sounds from Rashi that the first time is not to eat. How does that make sense? So the answer is that there's a general intent that Rashi's coming to. Menachem Hill, you're following? Yeah? So Rashi has a general problem over here, a general question. What is that? If we're going to explain that these words, right, don't cook the kid with the mother's milk, right? Literally, right, which would mean that it's about cooking, right? This would be something odd and would make a question. Where do we find such a thing that there's a prohibition in cooking? Where do we find this concept? Where's it saying the whole Torah, don't cook something like, right? There is the concept of something that you're not allowed to eat. There is a concept of something you're not allowed to benefit from. Those we have in sacrifices. If it goes off to you can't eat it if you didn't eat it in the right time, right? You're not allowed to eat your grain until you take truma and meiser from it. All these things. So that concept we have the concept of not having benefit from idolatry. So those concepts exist in Torah, right? But the concept of cooking something, that you're not allowed to cook something, that concept doesn't exist. So in other words, here are the first time we're hearing a concept of don't cook. So it's something odd, and that bothers Rashi. In order to smooth it out, so to speak, if you will, that's why Rashi has to bring that it says in 3 times. Right? One is for eating, one is for the benefit, and one is for cooking. The first 2 times he's explaining it in the parameter of those things that are in Torah, eating and benefit. After we have the first, times that the first two times that the Torah says as such, so now we still have a problem. Why the third time is the Torah coming and tell us? Therefore, he says it's because it has a unique prohibition, right? That comes as a result. It's not causing, but it's the result, right? It's the effect rather than the cause, so to speak, right? Of the first 2 reasons why you can't have the mixture of milk and meat, because eating and benefit, right? In other words, the prohibition of eating, of this prohibition of the kid in the mother's milk is so stringent, so much so that the Torah even doesn't allow you to cook it. In order to keep you away from any prohibition, that at all possible. And others, like, what's the big deal cooking? I'm not eating it. I'm not even going to benefit from it. I'm just cooking it, right? I'm not selling it, let's say. That would be, you can benefit, fine. But I'm just cooking it. In other words, oh, wow. So eating kosher, right, and not milk and meat is so stringent a law, so important that the Torah has to repeat it 3 times. First time, don't eat it. Oh, that we get because you are what you eat. Second one, that we get, right? That parameter is a parameter that is very clear. Second one, don't even have benefit from it. In other words, it's so. And a third one, just cooking. I'm not going to eat it. I'm not going to even sell it and have benefit. I'm not going to give it to my dog to eat, right? Nothing. I'm just cooking it. So stringent is so important eating kosher that here Torah tells you, don't even cook it. But that's the third point. Even though the verse is saying it first, but it's sort of like bringing the stringency in it. It's denoting the stringency, but it's really first is obviously eating, and then pleasure, benefit, and then cooking. But the verse is kind of highlighting it, how strict this law is. Wow. Got that, folks? That was quite powerful. That was quite powerful. Wow. Thank you. Okay, Tanya's coming up in a few moments, folks.